If you've decided to seek treatment at SunCloud, we all think it's a good fit potentially, the right level of care, the right place, at the right time for you. Day one is sometimes a bit of a clunky process, we've realized, for many of our patients. Although we try to do everything we can to make the day as seamless as possible, we hope that some of the information that we're providing here will make it a little bit easier. So on day one, our patients will arrive generally about 15 or 20 minutes prior to our start time. And depending on which program you're doing, we have a start time every day. And when you arrive, you'll meet with one of our therapists. Won't necessarily be your primary therapist once you're in treatment, but it will be somebody who runs program and runs group here. And the whole point of sitting down and having that conversation is to just settle you down, center you, make sure that you understand that this is for you. It's going to be maybe an uncomfortable day or half a day. That's pretty normal. It's normal when we're doing anything new in our lives. And it's also a chance for us to talk about a few things that are important. If we haven't done so already, we want to review your insurance benefits. Most of us that are coming into SunCloud anyway are using an in-network provider. So that's going to be one of the payers that we work with. So prior to you coming in on your first day, we'll have done a full review of your benefits, which means we'll be in a position to sit down with you, make sure you understand what your benefits are. What's your copay, what's your coinsurance, what's your deductible. You might have a question of, that's all great, but what is this really going to cost me? I think it's important for us to say that although we will do everything we can to get that information for you, and that's what we want to try to do on day one, if not sooner, it's ultimately up to you to make sure that you understand and you know what your benefits are. We cannot be held responsible or liable for anything that we're told, but at the same time, we have contracts, and what we're told is definitely something that we usually rely on. So we'll review all that with you. We will assign you a treatment coordinator who's going to be your primary therapist once you're in treatment here, which is on day one. That's the person that you'll meet with at least once a week. We will assign you a buddy, which is somebody that is in program currently that we think you would be comfortable with, somebody that will go with you through groups and to lunch on your first day to make sure you know where to be and when to be where and who's who, and all that good stuff. One of the other things that we do on day one here is we review expectations, both expectations that we have of you as a patient, as a human who's showing up, doing something challenging, doing something that probably feels pretty uncomfortable, and yet we are a program and we've got certain things that we need you to understand, being on time, being in touch with us if you're running late, the consequences of, missing a day that, when we don't know you're going to miss a day, what constitutes an excused absence versus an unexcused absence, how one goes about ensuring that we're all on the same page in that regard. So those are the expectations we have of you. You also have expectations of us, and we think we know what those are. So we've clearly outlined those, and we'll go over those with you on day one. But in the event that you have additional expectations of us, or you have, a doctor you want to make sure that we're collaborating with, or a therapist that for whatever reason we don't have in your file and you want that therapist updated, every Thursday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. To the extent that we can accommodate those requests, those would be under the category of your expectations of us, and that's really important for us here. So we want to make sure that in our file for you that we understand, and this goes back to kind of your expectations of us, who's on your care team outside of SunCloud, because the intent is never to bring you in here and disconnect you from what's in many cases a very strong care team that either referred you here in the first place or is somebody that you've worked with for many years. And so, we're going to want to make sure we understand, who's your therapist, who's your doctor, who's your primary care doctor. Again, if you come from a residential or an inpatient treatment center, we want to know, is that somebody that we should be collaborating with? Usually we'll want to make sure we get information from them. So this is all stuff that although it can be ongoing, on day one, we really want to do everything we can to make sure that we have everybody that you want involved in your care team and who we feel would be useful in being involved in your care team, including, by the way, sometimes your family members, just to make sure that we can, once you're engaged, that we can communicate with the right people throughout the process. Because in order for this to be a successful treatment episode for you, which is why we're doing this, we all need to make sure that we're on the same page and that we both understand each other's expectations.